Hey, hey, man, I've always wanted to do this, just go live however I was. I want to talk to you about your future. And I also want to talk to you about not having unrealistic expectations. Because when you have unrealistic expectations and you don't see the results that you want immediately, you quit. And I'm afraid that this is where so many of you are right now. And I want to give you some coaching on that so that you know what to expect. I'm making my lunch right now. And I've got a couple different things going on. But I'll share with you that long-term, we're in a marathon right now. We're in a marathon life right now, which means I don't want you to think about being a sprinter. I want you to think about creating repeatable steps in your life that are going to yield you small breakthroughs. Okay. And that's also going to allow you to develop confidence in going after bigger things in your life, like really big changes that might impact like your family or that will impact the world, like what I'm doing. The big changes that I've made in my life have impacted the world on a world stage, because I'm creating in the new paradigm. I'm a new earth creator. So what prompted me to share this with you is because you guys know that I've been on like this fitness journey, and it was prompted by me not being satisfied or wanting to like up level my life. It really prompted me with being like, wait a minute, this is how I meant to be living versus how I was living, which was way below my capabilities. And what it required me stepping it up. I had to make all my own food. There's no more conveniences. Although I find that making my food now has become a convenience, and then in the other way is actually an inconvenience, because if I eat out at a restaurant, it makes me sick the next day. And, it's just, I feel like I'm in control of my life when I know what I'm putting in my body, what I'm feeding my mind, who I'm spending my time with. But back to my thing, as I'm like carrying my kale over there, it didn't start that way because I lacked the skills to be able to like stick to a plan. Until I started to work closely with a coach that helped me with a plan and being able to keep accountable for when I fell off the plan, which in this sense, like I'm talking about like a nutrition plan, but a business plan is something that I followed. And then like a life plan, like what's my life plan? What's my life plan? Like, am I living according to my plan? For my life, like what is my highest plan here? And I kind of want to ask you guys that same question. Like, are the everyday things that you're doing, are they adding up to you feeling like you're moving forward in your life, or are you stagnant? Because there's a lot of stagnant energy going on right now, because quite frankly, there's a lot of people watching what's going on in the world. And it's good to be like, it's good to know what's going on in the world, but you don't necessarily need to watch it happening. And I remember I learned this when my whole world was falling apart. What I was actually doing in that time was I was awakening a new reality within me. And I also had to rectify what I had built in the past. So I was working on both ends of the spectrum of like, all right, this is an old energy, no longer serves me. And simultaneously saying the new energy within me is this, and creating from that space. And again, I was doing it with a coach because I always talk about this, like if you don't know how to get to the new world, know that you've got to create that from within you. And then you've also got to create it through the action steps that you take. And this requires a consistent approach. Now, the consistent approach isn't going to be doing the same thing every single day. And one of my, I have some clients that, that are like, well, what's the step that I take today based on how I'm feeling? And it's always going to be different. I'll tell you that it's like always going to be different. So that's one of the reasons why, I always say, listen to what I'm sharing with you, but don't try to pick up on what I'm sharing with you and then like add it into your life because I'm sharing like, oh, I'm eating healthy. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so well, don't go and eat healthy today because you saw me eating healthy today. I would want to know this. Sorry, my eyes are. What are the steps that led me to eating healthy consistently so that I've been able to change my body? What are the things that I do in behind the scenes where what are the things that led me to my soulmate showing up at my parents' front door and telling me that, he thought that we were destined to be together, and for me to be like, I think you're right. What were the steps that I was doing while I was alone that got me out of being a woman who was abused into being a woman who is adored and cherished? What are the things that got me from the old earth into the new earth? And I'd be wanting to get with me and know what these things are, right? And I'm also going to say this. You guys know that I've been coached heavily for the past 7 years, eight years really now, with like a fitness and wellness coach, health coach, to make the tweaks in my diet so that I could physically show up as strong as I could be during these times. I think it's important to know that if you're going to be led, you want to be led by someone who's got their stuff together during these times. There are a lot of leaders out there that are still doing work in the old paradigm, and be very discerning of that, because those old paradigm energies don't work. They're not strong enough for where we are right now. I'll say that out loud. I know that to be a fact. All my training and preparation has led me to know this. So back to what I was being said. What's being said. Oh, this is going to take years. It's going to take years to create what you're asking for. It's going to take years to see some of these bigger dreams come into fruition. For some of you. I'll tell you why. Because it's about who you are becoming that is so important, it cannot be rushed. It cannot be rushed because we're talking about you also have to unbecome a version of you that's no longer in alignment with where you want to be. And those two things, unbecoming and becoming at the same time, they take a lot of energy. And because they take a lot of energy, they can't be rushed. One of the things my first coach told me was that Rome wasn't built in a day. And I wanted to punch her in the face when she said that, because I remember wanting things so fast. But when you work with the precision and the perfection of your divine self, which is your God self, you actually learn that you can be, that God is always on time. And then when you work with God's timing, what you learn is that everything is actually the way it's supposed to be. And it's really, really what's getting in the way and making life so hard is the need and the desire for things to be different. And then when we take those two things out of the equation, what happens is we can be free to say, you know what, I'm cool because I'm on God's time. And then we have to look at, what's in our life that is making us, that's holding us back from already feeling that freedom within our hearts. And that's the work. That's the true work. It's like in the day to day, what are those things that, you get to be doing that are helping move you forward, which on any given day can be something different depending on where you are, because human beings are super complex. We have the energy that's going on outside of us, that if you're in a controlled space, what happens is the energy that's outside of you controls your inner environment, and it creates a feeling or a trigger, and the trigger creates an emotion. And if you're in an emotional field that is a low vibration, then that might be what you're working on for the day. If you're in a place where you're activating, it means that you're growing your energy field, right? But sometimes we need rest. So like, where does rest come into all of this? The reason why I'm pointing all of this out to you is just to say, more and more, what I'm realizing is that number one, I'm not the right coach for everybody. Number two, I want to work with people for long term, because when you take the same steps over and over and over again, like when you eat the same diet of whole foods and organic foods, and when you exercise, and when you walk, and when you lift weights, and when you do your flexibility, when you do all those things, they're going to equal a result of something. But if you do one of those things, like if you just ate healthy foods, but you didn't exercise, then you're not fueling your muscles. And if you didn't do cardio, you're not fueling your heart, so you're not burning calories. So you've got one of two things going. But let's say that you eat kale on Monday, but then on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're eating takeout pizza. Then you might as well not even be eating the kale, because all the times that you're eating the pizza, it's gonna trump everything. So I talk about how most people right now are living in an old paradigm, and they're wanting to switch into the new paradigm, but they're not knowing how to switch into the new paradigm because the old paradigm energies are so freaking heavy and hard, right? That's life right now, heavy and hard, right? And wanting, and how do I do it? And so I'm here, but I will tell you this, that more and more, I'll tell you this, I have never worked in a short-term coaching community. I have always gone for the big coaching package. I have always gone for what is going to get me the results the fastest. And that was actually learning an entire approach to life. And that approach to life is being empowered and self-led, and knowing how to evolve myself, knowing how to evolve my husband, knowing how to evolve the world to go in the direction that God wants us to go in, which is to create our own desires and to manifest what we were born to manifest. So here's what I'm saying is, you could work with me for a month and I could teach you how to mix organic hamburger meat, but I won't be able to teach you how to consistently make the meal and how to sustain yourself when the triggers come up, when you want to order takeout. That's the analogy I'm going to use. When the shit hits the fan and you get into those triggers, 99.9% of the time, if you're only learning how to make the burger meat, and you don't know how to make the complete thing, and you don't know how to repeat that over and over and over again, even when the hard times come, then I'm going to say, then you're only going to get that percentage over the course of time. So you're going to know, how do I meditate? Okay, well, we're going to meditate. We're going to make burger, that's the burger meditation. But you want the whole meal, because you want the body, you want the life, you want the marriage, you want the wealth, you want whatever it is. And that's the whole package. Well, the whole package you can have, but it's not going to come when you invest in just learning how to mix burger. Do you see what I'm saying? So more and more, I am moving away from here's just this piece, because then I send you out into the world and you're like, well, that didn't work. But so many of you right now, I understand you don't want to commit to a bigger thing, but I'm saying the commitment that you're making to the bigger thing is actually the big commitment that you're making to your big dream. And that's going to be relative to what you're going to receive. So I hope I'm making sense. So when you commit big to your big vision, then you're saying to yourself, I'm committing big. I'm putting all of these pieces together, right? And I'm learning how to make a full meal, a full life. I'm learning how to make a full life. We're not going to leave anything off the plate. But again, I can teach you how to clean vegetables for this price, or I can teach you how to live an entire life for this price. And I'm saying to you, I have never been the person. And so therefore it's becoming more and more relevant to me, evident to me, that because this is the person I am, I buy the package, the entire package. I didn't want a husband who was just partially what I wanted. I wanted to learn, how am I going to create the whole thing? You put money and you put time and energy and effort and you learn the whole thing so you can create the whole thing. I didn't play that way. When I got the calling and when I got the opportunity, I was an instant, how am I going to do this? Yes, this is what I want. I understand that I have a lot. I have a lot of challenges that I need to face. I need a lot of hand holding. I want to do it the right way. And I know that doing it the right way is to stay the course for a longer amount of time. Because left to my own devices, I sink. I go down with the ship. I'm the captain of my life now, because I didn't allow myself to go down with the ship. I built the ship. I know how to keep the ship sturdy in chaos, and I am the captain of the ship. And I just want to know who wants, number one, to be on the ship as things go down, and who wants to know how to live an extraordinary life and not just learn how to clean kale and saute it, right? Or that you use sea salt, or, whatever it is, because that's just a teeny tiny part of the picture. I'm here to tell you that I'm the real deal and I've got the whole picture. It's been given to me by God to teach you. I'm wondering who's ready for this, right? Who's ready for a complete life up level, and me walking beside you and showing you how to unlock the best part of your life. And also knowing that, hey, you don't have to have that all figured out. All you need to know right now is whether or not I'm talking to you. Because I've made it very clear to myself, my message is not going to change. I have been wishy-washy, and I have been entertaining people who are not my ideal clients, and I've been speaking to them, when in reality, what I've been afraid of is to actually speak to the crowd that's actually going to come forward and say, you know what, I want to lead myself in this evolutionary place. I want to lead myself, and then I want to know how to lead other people. And I have it in me. I just don't know what it is or how to use it. And I also have the willingness to stick with myself. And when you stick with yourself, my goodness, you can create anything you want in your life. So coaching opportunities are open.
I'm looking to mentor someone who is ready to know all the ins and the outs of evolutionary leadership, really ready to get out of their own way, become empowered, know that you don't have to have everything, you don't have to know everything all at once. Part of working with me is that you start to understand that this is a process, a step-by-step process, hand-holding, to build confidence and trust and starting to know who you are and who you're meant to be in this new world. Again, remember that if you are trying to work with old world energies, those energies are outdated. They are not powerful enough um, to override what is going on, what is coming down the line. Certainly not powerful enough to override that. And you want to start building your ship. You want to start fortifying and solidifying your inner self, your sanctuary, and learning how to expand in your human consciousness so that you can start to create new things during these times, because it's going to get even more challenging for people who are holding on to the old versions of themselves, when in reality, the fear that's knocking on their door is the call of God for them to evolve themselves. Okay. All right. I can't wait to see who shows up. Take care. Bye.